Good evening and welcome to Guyana TV9 News, broadcasting live on television and streaming across all our social media platforms. I am Daniela Arajo with your top stories for Monday, July 20th. In the headlines tonight, our hearts are heavy. President Ali addresses a grieving nation as MV BARIMA death toll times. Indigenous leaders highlight priorities for communities. MV BARIMA management suspended and crew detained as sinking hope widens. Early morning Inferno leaves 20 homeless as South Road business goes up in flames. Grieving families face grim reality following recovery of vessel loved ones. Venezuelan teen held after police find suspected cannabis toy gun in HERSTELLING. And our loved ones are still out there. Indigenous leaders share heartbreaking personal toll of MV BARIMA sinking. And now for the news in depth. The government has launched a swift crackdown following the MV BARIMA ferry disaster, suspending the vessel's management team and arresting the captain and first engineer for narcotics use. The criminal probe has intensified after investigators discovered massive passenger manifest discrepancies, revealing that more than half of the rescued survivors were entirely undocumented. As authorities review seized wharf surveillance footage to reconstruct the ferry's final movements, the focus has completely shifted towards severe operational negligence. More in this report.
The officials responsible for the ferry's loading, dispatch, and day-to-day operations have all been relieved of their duties pending the outcome of the investigation as authorities move to preserve evidence and determine whether negligence played a role in the sinking. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips said the decision was made to protect the integrity of the investigation and prevent any possibility of evidence being tampered with or the investigative process being compromised. Authorities have also seized surveillance footage from the Kingston Goods Wharf, where the MV BARIMA began its ill-fated journey, with investigators hoping the recordings will help reconstruct the vessel's final movements before it capsized.
We are also releasing the vessel's manifest, together with the names of those who have been rescued and the names of those who have still been unaccounted for and still deemed as missing, based on the information currently available. These lists will continue to be updated as verification efforts progress. On behalf of the government of Guyana, I extend our deepest condolences to the families who have suffered unimaginable difficulties and loss. And I assure every affected family that this government, our government, will continue to stand with you throughout this difficult period.
The investigation took an even more dramatic turn Sunday night when Public Works Minister Juan Edgel announced that the vessel's captain and first engineer had both been arrested after testing positive for narcotics. The arrests come as investigators continue examining whether operational failures, human error, or other violations contributed to the maritime disaster.
The Director General, as well as the General Manager of THD, is here. And they would know that under my tenure as Minister of Public Works, we have conducted random testing for alcohol as well as for drugs. This is routine because we have a zero tolerance for members of the crew drinking or smoking while at work. And for us to have positive tests from the captain, I could understand a sailor, but not a captain. This is serious. People's lives are at risk.
Officials have also uncovered what they describe as alarming discrepancies involving the vessel's passengers' records. While rescue efforts were initially based on an official manifest listing 116 passengers and 17 crew members, investigators have so far verified only 35 of the 67 rescued individuals as actually appearing on that passenger list, raising serious concerns that numerous people boarded the ferry without without being properly documented. The discovery has thrown the total number of passengers into doubt, leaving authorities unable to confirm exactly how many people were aboard when the MV BARIMA capsized approximately 7 miles offshore on Saturday night. That uncertainty has complicated both rescue operations and efforts to account for every individual who may have been on the vessel.
The captain is a survivor. The first engineer is a survivor. A sailor is a survivor. They're at Anna Regina in the police custody. The mate, which is the second most senior person on the boat, is also a survivor. Early in the day, we spoke to the captain and the mate. They were helping the boats out there in the search and rescue. The mate has returned to Georgetown. And the mate has returned to Georgetown. And like we would have done with the testing of the captain and the first engineer and the sailor that is at Anna Regina, we have subject the mate to the same testing. The results have not been the same like the others.
Investigators are now expected to analyze surveillance footage from the wharf alongside passenger records, crew interviews, and forensic evidence as they work to establish a clear timeline of events. Authorities are also examining whether proper safety procedures were followed before the vessel departed and whether existing maritime regulations were breached. As the investigation widens, public attention is increasingly focused on accountability rather than just the circumstances of the sinking. With the captain and first engineer in custody, the management team removed, and serious questions emerging over passenger documentation and operational oversight, the MV BARIMA disaster is rapidly becoming one of the country's most significant maritime investigations in recent years. Melanie Morris, GIAN TV9 News.
An early morning fire at Special Auto, the filter shop on South Road, Georgetown, has left about 20 people homeless after flames tore through the building's upper floor. While firefighters prevented the blaze from consuming the entire structure, the residential section was completely destroyed, leaving millions of dollars in losses. Here's more in this report.
Panic erupted on South Road on Monday morning as flames engulfed the upper flat of the Special Auto, the filter shop. The fire is believed to have started in the residential section of the building, where several Cuban and Venezuelan nationals, along with other occupants, were living. Within minutes, the flames spread throughout the upper floor, destroying the living quarters and forcing residents to flee for safety. Fortunately, everyone managed to escape and no injuries have been reported. The business occupies the ground floor of the building. Firefighters responded quickly and mounted an aggressive attack on the blaze, successfully preventing the flames from spreading further and saving the lower section of the property, although it sustained water and smoke damage. One employee, Rajnarayan Dial, recalled the frightening moments when the fire broke out and described how quickly it intensified.
We start from just in front.
That's all?
We start from just in front of the building there, and we start spread going. The gate of the people that live upstairs is closing.
Do you work here?
Yeah, I work downstairs. I work on since 1982 to 30.
And when you see the fire happen, what you did?
I did not see no fire. One guy passed us the place in fire, and I run out. And the Prado in park there until Miss can move on.
The blaze has left approximately 20 people displaced after the upper floor was completely gutted. Many escaped with little more than the clothes they were wearing, losing their homes and personal belongings in a matter of minutes.
Couple about 15, 20.
Okay.
They live in the building.
As thick smoke billowed into the sky, scores of residents gathered along South Road to watch firefighters battle the flames. Their swift response prevented what could have been an even larger disaster, protecting neighboring buildings and limiting the fire to the upper section of the structure. Although the business below was spared from being destroyed by fire, the building sustained significant damage and the losses are expected to run into millions of dollars. The Guyana Fire Service has not yet determined the cause of the blaze. Fire investigators are continuing their examination of the scene to establish where and how the fire started. For the families who call the upper floor home, however, the focus has now shifted from the cause of the fire to rebuilding their lives after losing nearly everything in the early Monday morning blaze.
Adana Dork, TV9 News.
Police are investigating the alleged stabbing death of 53-year-old Brazilian gold miner Antonio Pereira Figueiredo at Rock Creek Backdam, Peruni River. Police said Figueiredo and his 50-year-old wife were involved in an argument at their mining camp on Saturday night when he was allegedly stabbed in the abdomen. A kitchen knife suspected to have been used in the incident was recovered, and the woman was arrested and remains in custody as investigations continue. Figueiredo was pronounced dead on arrival at the Bartica Regional Hospital. His body is awaiting post-mortem examination. A profound cloud of grief hung over the Arthur Chung Conference Center today as Indigenous leaders arrived for national meetings, many of them personally devastated by the MV Barima ferry disaster. While these two shows gathered to discuss the development of their communities, their minds were miles away on the Atlantic Ocean, where their own close relatives remain missing. In exclusive interviews with TV9 News, these leaders shared the harrowing personal toll of the tragedy, even as they desperately cling to the hope for a miracle. For Show Michael Daniels of 4 Miles Village, Region 1, the maritime tragedy hitting his community isn't a headline. It is a family emergency. 5 of his close relatives boarded that ferry on Saturday night. While 3 managed to survive the terrifying ordeal, 2 of his loved ones remain completely unaccounted for.
With the forces with the MV and BARIMA, with 5 of my relatives was on that vessel. Out of the 5, 3 rescue and 2 more yet to find. So far, I have my deputy relative was on the boat too. So I need to get answer by now. I can't nothing. I still waiting for answer. Few minutes back, one of my relatives called and said they didn't find it there. Area. So that is all on that.
The exact same living nightmare is playing out for Andrew Kenneth, the Community Development Officer for Canal Bank Region 1. He stood before our cameras today reflecting the exhaustion of a man who hasn't slept since Saturday night, revealing that 9 of his family members were on board the ill-fated vessel. While 7 were pulled from the dark waters alive, an adult relative and a helpless young child have vanished into the Atlantic.
Yes, so approximately nine persons. Right? So far, 7 safe and 2 students, 1 kid and 1 adult.
What makes this tragedy an even deeper wound for these tight-knit riverine communities is the cruel reality of distance. While officials in the capital hold press conferences, these leaders are stuck hundreds of miles away from home, forced to look at photos of their missing nieces, nephews, and children on cell phone screens, completely powerless to join the physical search. Every ring of a phone brings a sharp jolt of panic as they wait to hear whether the sea has yielded a survivor or another body. The MV Barima capsized just 7 miles offshore near the mouth of the Pomeroon River while making its routine journey from Georgetown to the Northwest District. 67 survivors have been brought ashore, but the official death toll has now climbed to 11. Search teams have located the underwater wreckage of the MV Barima after a local fisherman provided authorities with the exact coordinates. The Maritime Rescue Coordination Center immediately scrambled assets to the site following the 1:31 p.m. tip on Monday. Specialized dive teams have been deployed to conduct an initial assessment of the sunken vessel as recovery operations intensify. As the Guyana Defense Force, Coast Guard, brave local fisherfolk, and private vessels continue to search the waves, families across Region 1 are refusing to let go of hope, keeping a desperate vigil on the shores for the children, parents, and neighbors who have yet to come home. Daniela Arajo reporting for Guyana TV9 News. A 15-member team from the French Armed Forces in French Guyana arrived in Essequibo to assist with ongoing search, rescue, and recovery operations. Led by Lieutenant Commander Alexis Tobol, the team includes 12 specialist divers, 2 medics, and 1 mechanic. More news after the break. Do stay with us.
GCOM is conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you were 18 years or older on June 30, 2026, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone whom you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Friday, July 17, 2026. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
I know you have work to do, but come, I just need a minute of your time. It won't even take that long. So, I have a proposal. We could do besties in Punta Cana. Really need a getaway. And not to worry, I went to Sunita Travel Agency and they recommended a few hotels that do all-inclusive stays. And they're very affordable. The vibes. Let me tell you something. We do not want to miss a trip to Punta Cana. Why? Ziplining. No, I know this is not your vibe, but please, listen. Hold on. Wait. I know you like throw it back. There's a boat party. We could go there. And then there's this thing called buggy adventure, some buggy something. I don't know, but I want to be a buggy or whatever it is. I just want to be a part of it. And then we got snorkeling. Oh, this thing is so ugly. Please, you be next to uglier things than this. Stop it. Trust me, you're going to love it. It'll be just you and me, Punta Cana, drinks, just having the time of our life. Not to worry. We've got many flight options, and they made sure that they went through it with me. The prices are affordable. Trust me. I know you like thinking about the budget or whatever. Remember the time when we went and we missed the flight? Yeah, when we booked with Sunita Travel Agency, even if it happens, with slim chance, they'll know what to do and we won't be stranded like we did the last time. This solid plan. You, me, Punta Cana. Cheap. It won't even hurt your pocket. Please say yes. Yes.
Welcome back. You're watching Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. Over 200 indigenous leaders gathered at the National Two Shells Council Conference on Monday to partner with the government on rural development, highlighting a shared focus on affordable hinterland travel and expanded education. Here's more in this report.
Several two shows highlighted to Guyana TV9 News the high cost of airfare travel as one of their biggest concerns, explaining that expensive fares continue to affect access to healthcare, education, and business opportunities for residents living in remote communities. They are urging government officials to explore measures that would make transportation more affordable for hinterland families. Education also remains high on the agenda, with leaders calling for additional school buses, expanded educational opportunities, and greater investment in training programs, including increased access to nursing education. Many said these initiatives are essential to equipping young people with the skills needed to contribute to development of their villages.
Okay, I am Alma Marshall, the show of Kamangwarwat village. One of the many issues that I would really put on the floor is the cost of living in my district, which is yet to be addressed. And that is what we're looking forward to as residents of Upper Mashroom. That's a pending case from the last NTC to now.
My name is Lemmy Francis. I am the Peshawar of Kabri village. Well, I don't really have much to raise, but I will be stressing on our school bus. We need a very big school bus, seeing that our children, the numbers are growing. So we need a school bus. That would be very great. We need a library for the village. We don't have a library, community library. Uh, we need a boat for the village. We don't have a village boat. Becomes a boated. Not very long from now, we will be getting a bigger boat for our school children.
So the most pressing issue that I want to raise is that it was strictly to the education sector. So we need the extension of our semi independent school. Currently, the school overcrowded, so I found the intention to at the NPC to raise the issues that we can get some kind of answers, especially urban funds, do extension of our school there at Semi. And one of the next that I plan to raise at the National Cultural Conference is we need uh upgrade of our sawmill. We have wood meister and get additional funds to do some more work on our sawmill. But what we need is we need lap edge and groove and tone of machine so that our resident live in more comfortable and more easy access to materials for their homes.
I got issue with a nurse in school now want to ask building our village because we got right now we got 30 nursery and our primary school is small, so we really need a nursery school. Plus, issue that we're facing right now is with the high tide. Water is very high because we farm and other people farm, and the very high tide come, it just rotten everything.
While raising concerns, the two shows also pointed to the progress being made within their communities. Several leaders highlighted ongoing infrastructure projects, improvements in community services, and economic initiatives aimed at creating jobs and strengthening village economies. They noted that continued collaboration with the government will be key to sustaining that progress.
Well, right now, our development, we have a learning resource center that we're building from LCDS. We have a guest house that we're building from LCDS, self-contained with 15 rooms. We have a daycare center with it's finished. We also have a craft shop that is 9% from people. And we are focusing on more other things to do in the village to upgrade our.
So some of the development that I thought it's like work is that we get a completion of our commercial house. And currently we are working on an extension for that project right now. And the next project that we did with our LCDS 2025 funds, we do a construct village shop. It is not completed right now, but it is ongoing at the moment. And we also do started a tourism project, right? And that's our Sharma. We are doing a bednap currently here. That's with our 2025 president's funds also, right? So most of the funds that we receive from the nation so far, most have gone into projects, and that's for strictly development.
Can you tell me your name and what is happening for you and the reason your piece?
My name is Narman Jari, CDC chairperson for St. Anselm Village in the Region 1 in the BARIMA Purple. Yes. This is the second term for me as CDC chair. And I must say I'm so thankful for our honorable president for at least for the good he done for us in the village. As we get school, we get health center, we get community center bill, we get cash grant, we get because we care for the children them, we get LCDS, and we so far we do a lot in the village.
The 5-day National Tushos Council Conference is being held under the theme Empowering Leadership While Building Sustainable Village Economies Through Inclusive Partnership. The annual event brings together indigenous leaders from across Ghana to engage directly with President Mohamed Irfan Ali, government ministers, and other senior officials on issues affecting their communities and the country's indigenous population. As discussions get underway, expectations remain high that the conference will deliver tangible outcomes for indigenous communities, with transportation, education, healthcare, and economic development dominating the agenda. Tushos say they are looking forward to productive engagements that will translate into lasting benefits for villages across the country. Adana Dark, Ghana TV9 News.
President Dr. Irfan Ali has addressed a grieving Guyana, calling the sinking of the MV Barima a tragedy of immense proportions as the death toll reaches 11, with multiple passengers still missing. Here's more in this report.
Speaking after visiting survivors and relatives of the missing in Region 1, the president described the incident as one of the most painful moments in the country's history as rescue and recovery operations continue.
Our nation has been plunged into a tragedy of immense proportions. The capsizing of the MV Barima has pierced the heart of our nation, leaving us united in grief, anxiety, and sorrow. Families wait in expectation and anguish for news of loved ones. Communities are mourning. Across Guyana, our hearts are heavy as we confront one of the most painful moments in our history. This morning, I visited survivors, as well as the families and relations of some of those still missing.
President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali met with survivors, grieving families in Port Kaituma and Mabruma, as well as patients receiving treatment at the Mabruma Regional Hospital, where he listened to first-hand accounts of the tragedy and pledged the government's full support. He said the immediate priority remains saving every life that can still be rescued, providing assistance to those who have endured unimaginable trauma, comforting grieving families, and accounting for every passenger who remains missing. The head of state also praised the swift response of the joint services, emergency responders, cabinet ministers, volunteers, fishermen, regional officials, religious leaders, members of parliament, the private sector, civil society, and international partners, describing the operation as a true reflection of Ghana's unity in the face of adversity. While rescue efforts remain the primary focus, President assured the nation that there will be a full, thorough, and independent investigation into the circumstances surrounding the sinking. He stressed that affected families deserve to know exactly what happened and whether any failures contributed to the disaster, but cautioned against speculation or attempts to politicize the tragedy while lives are still at stake.
But now is not the time for speculation. It is not the time to cast aspersions or to politicize a tragedy that has brought such unspeakable pain to so many. There will be a time for facts, for accountability, and for measured judgment. Today, however, our collective responsibility is to save lives, to comfort the grieving, to support the traumatized, and to stand with every family whose world has been turned upside down.
2-year-old Kelly Williams of Whitewater Village, Region 1, has been identified as the youngest victim amongst the 11 bodies recovered so far. Her body was identified by her aunt, while her parents, Clarice Venezuela and Smith Williams. The bodies of 20-year-old Dwayne Forbes, a crew member, and Shivani La Cruz from Masindo has also been recovered as other families continue to endure agonizing hours of uncertainty as they await word on the loved ones who have yet to be accounted for. The search and recovery mission entered a crucial stage after fisherman Harris Singh identified the suspected location of the submerged MV Barima at approximately 1:31 p.m. on Monday. Assistance from local fisherfolk along with the privately owned vessel Gilligan Island helped authorities confirm vessel's location, allowing the operation to transition into a full recovery mode. Additional support have arrived from the French government, which deployed 15 divers to work alongside local teams in the painstaking effort to recover victims and bring closure to grieving families. Outside the charity Oscar Joseph Hospital and the charity mortuary, scenes of anguish continue to unfold as relatives gathered in hopes of identifying loved ones. Authorities have confirmed that recovered bodies are being transported donated to charity for processing by health and police officials before families are invited to make formal identifications at Saudi hospital. For many, each passing hours bring a painful mix of hope and heartbreak as they wait for answers no family ever wishes to receive. Acknowledging that the days ahead will be difficult, President Irfan Ali called on Guyanese to stand together in compassion, faith, and solidarity as the nation confronts one of its worst maritime disasters. Adana Darek, Ghana TV9 News.
An 18-year-old Venezuelan national is in police custody after officers allegedly found suspected cannabis, a toy gun, a ski mask, a knife, and 3 cellular phones during an operation at HERSTELLING squatting area, East Bank, Demerara. Police said the items were discovered in a wooden shack occupied by the teenager on Saturday, July 18th. The suspected cannabis was weighed at the Providence police station and amounted to 2 grams. The suspect remains in custody as investigations continue. More news after the break. Do stay with us.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, primetime, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching Guyana TV9 News. And now for the regional news update. A Trinidad and Tobago High Court judge has permanently blocked long-running U.S. extradition attempts against former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner. The court ruled that continuing the case violated his constitutional rights. The state was ordered to pay full damages and legal costs. 2 earthquakes struck the twin island nation of Trinidad and Tobago just 1 hour apart on Monday morning, right before 7 a.m. local time. The magnitudes registered at 5.1 and 5.2. Minor shaking was felt from San Fernando to Tobago, but disaster teams report no injuries or structural damage. Following the tragic capsizing of the MV BARIMA ferry, Jamaican Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and CARICOM leadership released a joint message of condolence Monday morning. Holness expressed deep sadness over the maritime incident and the distress it has brought to the region. The disaster has sparked an immediate push by regional leaders to evaluate and tighten inter-island transit safety rules. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security officially published its expanded public charge rule in the Federal Register on Monday. The updated policy rescinds 2022 exemptions widening the criteria to penalize applicants if they or their families utilize a broad range of social safety nets and healthcare programs. Regional immigration advocates have swiftly condemned the move as dangerous for Caribbean communities seeking legal status. Turning now to international news. Millions of football fans lined the streets of Madrid today as Spain's national team returns home after capturing its second FIFA World Cup title. The celebrations follow Sunday's dramatic 1-0 extra-time victory over defending champions Argentina, secured by Ferran Torres' decisive goal. The squad is scheduled to meet King Felipe VI and Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez before taking part in a victory parade through the Spanish capital. Thousands of young demonstrators marched towards India's parliament in New Delhi today, demanding greater employment opportunities and government reforms. Police used barricades and baton charges to disperse crowds after protesters attempted to breach security zones surrounding the parliamentary complex. Several people were detained as authorities worked to restore order, while protest leaders vowed to continue their demonstrations. Rescue teams remain underground in Venezuela following a powerful earthquake that caused widespread destruction across several communities. Authorities say the death toll has continued to climb as emergency crews search collapsed buildings for survivors. Thousands of residents have also been displaced, with shelters opened as relief efforts intensify. Several European countries are preparing for another spell of extreme temperatures as weather agencies warn of dangerous heat across parts of southern and western Europe this week. Health officials are urging people to stay hydrated, avoid prolonged exposure to the sun, and check on vulnerable relatives as temperatures are forecast to climb well above seasonal averages. And those were the headlines making the news tonight. Keep the conversation going. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Guy TV9. I am Daniela Araje. Thank you for tuning in and do have a safe evening. Bye for now.